Hello everyone, it's Christine here and we're back for a new stitch and we're going to be doing cast on stitch and creating a cast on stitch rose. So let me show you what it looks like in the book. So this is the rose that we're going to be trying to create. And so the book suggests that we use different colours of threads. So using 3 different colours of pink, with a darker one for the centre, a mid-range one, and then a lighter one. So these are just ones I've grabbed out of my box. I did also have a play just using variegated thread and working on the sort of spacing above. But for this one, I will follow their instructions. So we're going to pop through. I'll probably do mine sort of midway down here, probably below where the other one was approximately. So going to pop out here. Hopefully that's enough space. We'll see how we go. One of the things I worked out up there was that it's best not to leave too much space between each of the petals if you want a really sort of tight looking rosebud. So what I'm now doing is just putting a tiny stitch through but leaving my needle in the fabric. And then what we're going to do is place our finger under the thread. We're going to move our finger forwards to us, like rolling it towards us and getting a little loop. And then we're going to pop that onto the needle. So that's the casting on, and we're going to do that again. Popping the thread onto the needle. So that's 2 done. So the book's telling us that we need to do 10 more cast-ons after that, so 12 in total. 3, 4. So you're always putting your finger under there, wrapping it towards you so you get a little crossover loop, and then popping it on the needle. 5. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So that's our first cast on. We've got our 12 there. We're going to hold on to them with our left hand, and we're going to pull our thread through and pull the needle through with our right hand while we're keeping hold of those little cast on stitches. And at this point, I just like to make sure that the stitches are nice and let me just show you, it might be easier to show, that they're sitting so they're flat, so they're curving in the direction you want them to curve, and they're not sort of getting twisty before I put that little anchoring stitch. And the anchoring stitch goes back in the hole where the thread is already going down, and that will just anchor it in place. This one will naturally sort of sit up and be flippable and floppable around. In the book they show us for the next stitch that it's sort of sitting like that. So if you aren't using variegated thread, if you're changing thread now, you will tie off at the back, and we'll be moving to the second darkest or second lightest thread. Keep that bit for something else for another time. Just managed to tie a knot around the top of my needle. That was very clever. Oh no, we've got it undone. So now I'm going to move to this one. Take its little plasticky casey thing off. They're very handy, those little plastic wrappy things. These vintage crochet threads came with it, which is great. So we'll be working quite a few of these next petals, so you probably need a decent amount on your needle, although you can always rethread if you need to. So I hope you're having a great day or a great evening. This will be a longer one, but great for those of us joining in the chat that runs, the live chat that runs when this video is premiering. It gives us some more chatting time. Let me just move the cable of the iPad charger out of the way. So we're going to sit our stitch somewhere like that, And then we're just going to pop through, and this is where I'm going to do it closer than what the book shows. So I'm going to pop my needle out about I think, just close to the middle of this. So if you can sort of see the little loops there, and I'm just going to pop out near the middle there. And then I'm just going to bring my needle just slightly below, and then just bring it back up to that same point. So if you can see that, so that's my little loop, my little half sort of crescent moon, and then I'm just making that little stitch. And I'm going to make sure I don't want to catch onto the embroidery hoop. And then we're going to start the same process. So finger underneath the thread, rolling the finger towards you to get that crossed over loop, and then popping the loop on. And we're going to work 16 cast ons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay, so again, we're going to just make sure they're sitting nicely, and then we're going to hold on to them with our left hand and use our right hand to pull our needle and our thread through. Sometimes because the thread's going all twisty, it might just sort of twist up at the back and you'll just have to ease it out. I like to then just make sure that my, getting rid of this little thread that's popped through, make sure that my little cast-ons are looking good and that they're sitting nicely against the fabric before I then anchor them down back through that same hole where the thread is already going down. Now I'm going to pop up inside of this one here, because we're going to have overlapping little loops, and then I'm going to pop over near my center bit of my rose, and it's always a bit hard with the hoop at this point, but let's just see if we can get our needle to pop out where we want it. There we go. I just need to get it down here, and then we're going to do the same process again. So 16, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Again, just holding on with our left hand and then gently easing the needle and the thread through, using your right hand to just deal with any of that twisty threadness at the end. Make sure your tail's not getting caught in there. If you do have a little twisty bit, just work out what's happening there, sort it out, and I'm sure you'll be able to take it through. I have got a tiny little knot there, so I'm just going to leave my threads for a moment and just see if I can sort out this little bothersome knot. I feel like it should just, there we go. Just gave it a gentle pull. Again, I just want to get my fingers back on the little cast on, but yeah, just gave it a gentle pull and it gave way because it wasn't an actual knot, it was just a little loopy knot. And I think I will do my little trick in a moment of just letting my thread wind around in the air to take the tension out of it. So yeah, much happier with the spacing that I'm doing on this one. The book just looked a bit too separate, like where you could still see the fabric through it. So yeah, that's much better spacing for a nice tight rosebud. So next one I'm going to pop out inside of this one here. Oh, in fact, I was going to do my little thread trick where I hang my thread in the air and let my thread spin around and take the tension out of it. So hopefully that's a bit better. Then we will pop up inside of this one. So we're always popping up inside of the last petal like that. And then just popping through from a little distance away near the centre. The centre one. I don't know if I've come out in quite the right space. When it gets quite close, it's hard to even see where you're quite aiming for. So remember, we're not pulling the thread through. All we're doing is getting ready to do another 16. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Just get this nice and straight. Hold on to our little cast-ons, do the pulling through. Sort out any thread twistiness. Then position your cast-ons to make sure they're looking nice before you anchor them down. Those look a little bit twisty, so I'm just going to get them nice before we do the anchoring. You want your petals to kind of look not loopy, just like a smooth curve is what you want. But they're pretty massageable, if that's a word. And that you can easily get them to sit how you want them to sit. And I think if at the end anything wasn't sitting quite right, you could do a tiny little sort of loop to get it to sit. But I think because these are kind of overlapping each other, it will actually work okay. I'm just doing a spinning of my thread again just to let it untangle. So again, I've popped up inside that one, and then I'm going to come through from this side. Don't know if I'll end up doing more petals than they suggest in the book, but I'm not too fussed about that. If it needs more petals, we'll do more petals. Okay, and then we're going to start the process again of under, wrap on, and we'll do another 16. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. See just how twisty the thread gets, but that's okay. We know we can sort it out. So I'm just going to hold on to my twists. In fact, I shouldn't have pulled the tail so far through. I'll just sort that out as well before I continue on. Again, once I've got them through, I just have a check that they're the way I want them to be, forming a nice petal. Not looking overly twisty. That's pretty good. This looks a tiny bit scrunched up there. What's going on there that's made it just a little bit Maybe I've just pulled it a smidge too tight, but you can just sort of, yeah, smooth them out a bit. And then I'll go back in through where the thread already is. Oops, and the tail's still poking out. So 1, 2, 3, 4 outer petals. Okay. And then keep going. So we'll pop up inside this one. And then come round and pop out where that thread is. And then we'll repeat with another 16. Oops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay, so again, holding on to our cast-ons, pulling the needle through, sorting out any thread twistiness as we pull, straightening out our little cast-ons. And then anchoring them down into the hole where the thread already is. So at least that step's easy because you kind of know where you need to anchor them and that's where the thread is, although obviously when you get a knot, not so easy. Excuse the pun. Where's that little knot coming from? It does get tricky because the thread does get a bit twisty at times. Don't know if I'll just need to pull that working thread back through, sort out the little knot, and then we can go forward. There we go. Sometimes you just have to take one step back to sort out a problem before you go on. Rethread the needle. Make sure these are sitting straight again. Just got a bit twisty at that end now in that process. I'll just loosen them up a bit and just see if they need to sort of twist around a bit on the thread. That's pretty good, I think. Oops. So I think I'll do one more petal. I think the book only does 1, 2, 3. The book only does 5, but I'm going to do one more petal because I can. And no one says it has to only be 5. If you've only got 3, that's fine too. 3 or 4 or 5 or 6. Choose your own adventure, we say. You just want to have a rose where it's actually going all the way around with the petals. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I'm just looking at my thread. It's almost running out. 16. We got round. Okay. So making sure these are sitting nice and straight and then doing the pulling through, holding on, straightening out, making sure they look the way you want them to look. Rethreading your needle because the thread popped out because it's getting short on the end. But at least that one bit of thread's done us all the way around. And then find where the little spot is that you take it in. And then there we go. That, I'll tie it off in a moment. I think we'll leave that for this video, and then we'll come back and do, I think, the outer petals in the lighter colour in the next one, because I know we're already at the 20-minute mark. So we'll cover off the rest of it, because you could even, if you wanted to just do a rose like that, that would be perfectly good as a rose. But we'll come out and finish the outer leaves in the next video, and also, sorry, the outer petals, and then do the outer little leaves as well, because I think otherwise this will end up a very long video, whereas I've been trying to sort of keep them manageable in a day's stitching. So let's call that a day. Hope you like the start of that cast on rose. I think it's a lot of fun, really nice, and yeah, definitely like doing it a little bit closer. But it was good to do a practice run based on the instructions, and then just tailor it a little bit myself. And I like the fact you can kind of, if you want to have it even sitting closer, you can do that, or if you want to get it sort of sitting a bit more spread out, you can push it down with your finger. It's quite movable. So thanks for watching, and we'll be back tomorrow to continue work on our cast on rose stitch. Thanks everyone, take care, bye.